2007. Fossils.
Hi everyone, my name is Pam and I'm a paleontologist. Jerry the geologist is a friend of mine. He called me this morning and asked me to come in and finish teaching you about the history of the Earth. He's sorry he can't be here, but all this rock talk has him itching to see some neat rocks himself, so he's off hiking in the mountains. A paleontologist is a scientist who studies paleontology, which is the study of life that existed on Earth in the distant past. Can you say paleontologist? Paleontologists study bones to learn about life on Earth long ago. This isn't just any bone, it's a dinosaur bone. I'll be teaching you about dinosaurs in the near future.
Jerry told me you already know about basic geologic factors: heat, pressure, and time. You also know that sedimentary rocks such as sandstone and limestone are formed from layers of sediments that have been pressed together over time. These layers of sediment offer many clues about the history of life on Earth. The history of life on Earth is my specialty as a paleontologist. Paleontologists need to know a lot about rocks and geology to study living things because of something called a fossil. A fossil is the preserved body or imprint of a plant or animal that lived thousands, millions, or even billions of years ago. Most fossils, like this fossil of a seashell, show you where an animal or plant died and was buried under layer after layer of sediment. Over many years, with more and more sediment pressing down on it, this shell became part of a stone that formed as a result of this pressure. You are only seeing impressions here, the shape of it, not the actual shells or animals. The creatures themselves decayed and rotted away, but the shape stayed imprinted in the rock as a fossil. As you dig down into the earth, the soil and rocks are divided into layers. These layers represent different geologic periods or times during which the crust and surface of the earth changed. For instance, if you find a layer of sandstone on dry land, then you know that there have been an ocean or a river over land there at some point in the distant past. We can estimate how old certain fossils may be, thanks to our understanding of geology and rock layers. Fossils are usually found in layers of sedimentary rocks, though they can be found in other rock formations as well. It looks like the paleontologist in this picture has found a good place for fossil hunting. He has to dig very carefully to make sure he keeps the fossils in good condition. Every fossil is part of the Earth's fossil record. The fossil record is everything we have learned about the history of life from studying fossils. The fossil record is what a paleontologist studies in order to figure out what life on Earth was like long ago. Paleontologists can determine when the animals and plants imprinted in fossils lived based on the rock layers in which they were found. They use information from all fossils to create a timeline of life on Earth. Today, I would like to show you several different fossils from different time periods during the history of the Earth. This fossil is of a trilobite, an animal that some scientists believed lived about 550 million years ago. Trilobites may look like insects, but they are more closely related to lobsters and crabs. Trilobites came in many varieties, from a half-inch up to 28 inches in length. They had antennas, lots of legs, and a hard outer shell called an exoskeleton. That exoskeleton is important because it meant that dead trilobites were easily fossilized when they became buried in the sand. At about this same time, the fossil record shows that the first plants appeared on land. Back then, there was no soil on the land. The first plants did not have the same characteristics as plants today. These plants were less than half an inch tall, and they had no roots, leaves, flowers, or seeds, but they were still plants. Soon came the age of fish. Many different types of fish ruled the waters. Also during this time, plant and animal life on land began to spread rapidly. The first soils developed on land allowing new types of plants with leaves, stems, and roots to grow. With new plants came new land creatures ready to eat those plants. Tetrapods, the first amphibians, made their way onto the beaches. An amphibian is an animal that lives part of its life in the water and part on land, like a frog. Paleontologists have found many tetrapod fossils. An artist drew this picture using a tetrapod fossil, which shows what a real tetrapod might have looked like. Do you think any of this tetrapod's body parts look like they belong to a fish? Then lush forest full of trees and plants, such as ferns, began to grow. As forest increased, so too did the variety and sizes of animals. The first giant reptiles appeared. Of course, the one in this picture, called a dimetrodon, is just a model that someone made, but they based this model on fossilized dimetrodon bones found in the earth. Paleontologists call the body part sticking up out of its back a sail because it looks like the sail on a boat.
Dimetrodon was not a dinosaur, but it certainly looked like one, and dinosaurs were soon to follow. We will learn about more dinosaurs next time. That is as far as the fossil records will take us today. Goodbye, boys and girls.